Hey, thanks for making it to Veterans Info Tap. I'm glad you made it. Congress, the Senate specifically, and the Veterans Affairs Committee there are looking to push the VA to fix outdated disability benefits regulations. So I wanted to jump into this, share it with you, see if we could pick out any nuggets. This is essentially a news release here from the U.S. Senate Committee on Veterans Affairs. So wanted to share that with you today. Please hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share with a friend, all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. Every thumbs up and every additional minute watched helps to put this into the hands of those that need it. And I kind of think it actually, if anybody on the Congress side of the house happens to be picking up any of these videos, they see that we actually care and are watching and paying attention to what's going on. All right, so with that, let's jump into it. Moving on again, this is a news release here from the U.S. Senate Committee on Veterans Affairs. This just came out April 16th, 2024, and wanted to share it with you here today. So the headline is, Tester and Gillibrand colleagues call on VA to fix outdated disability benefits regulations. And it looks like they're targeting some toxic exposed veterans specifically. There's a small kind of sub-headline, which is a quotation here, and it states, outdated VA regulations should not deny them earned benefits the PACT Act has provided. Agreed. All right, so let's move on here. Again, Tuesday, April 16th, 2024. Continuing their efforts to ensure toxic exposed veterans and survivors receive their earned health care and benefits under the PACT Act, Senate Veterans Affairs Committee Chairman John Tester and U.S. Senator Gillibrand are leading a group of their colleagues to urge the Department of Veterans Affairs to swiftly update its VA schedule for rating disabilities regulations for toxic exposed veterans with constrictive bronchiolitis and hypertension, two service-connected conditions added as presumptives under the PACT Act. Now, I'm not sure because I haven't gotten there yet, but I'm also hoping that this also is a push to get the VA to expand that area, the areas for Agent Orange and other herbicide exposure, where primarily Agent Orange was used, tested, and stored throughout the U.S., Canada, and India. Now, the VA has already put in the formal kind of information on expanding that throughout those locations in conjunction with utilizing the DoD's location list. Now, the question is how long is that going to take? And I'm hoping that this is also kind of a subsequent push on that as well. Moving on, the senators are calling on the VA secretary to expedite the rating schedule change regulation updates for constrictive bronchiolitis and hypertension to ensure VA implements the PACT Act the way Congress intended and veterans deserve. During the VA disability claims process, the VA schedule of ratings assigns a 4-digit diagnostic code and a disability rating that determine the monthly disability compensation a veteran will receive for their service-connected conditions. Moving on, there's a quotation here, and sometimes we could pick up little things in these quotations on kind of the direction of stuff. So let's see what's going on here. Toxic exposed veterans have waited decades to receive the benefits recognized and recognition the PACT Act provides, and we anticipate VA's efforts to implement the largest expansion of VA healthcare and benefits in decades, the senators wrote in a letter to the VA secretary. While more than 720,000 veterans and survivors have received PACT Act benefits, there are too many whose PACT Act claims have been wrongfully denied or underrated. That's an important piece. Underrated is a problem. I think that there's a lot of, obviously wrongfully denied is huge, right? And so I'm picking up on two things here. These are the nuggets, right? Wrongfully denied, is this the use of the Terra Memorandum and some, subpar medical professional who's deciding that it is not related, so therefore wrongfully denied, or underrated, which means that maybe they need to do a better job in the C&P process to really figure out exactly what your symptoms are that correspond with the rating schedule instead of just making us guess. Now, look, don't get me wrong. I consistently tell folks, go look at the rating schedule for your condition, know it, learn it, print it out, take it with you, read it, because it is that important. And if you don't, you have a good chance at being underrated. But many people don't. Many people are not aware. I mean, look, we have 100,000 subscribers. Thank you. Should be happening on Thursday, I'm thinking, which is probably when this video is going to post. So there's millions, right? Millions and millions of veterans. There's almost 6 million that are service connected, and there's a whole slew more that are not and should be. And sadly, they don't know that they should be looking at the rating schedule, and therefore, by the time they're done, they get underrated because they didn't know the signs and symptoms that they should have been talking about. Anyway, that's my horse. I'm off it. And Stan is in the background. For those who don't know, Stan is my rooster. Not intentional, by the way. I thought I was getting 4 hens just to get some eggs for the small family, and I got 3 hens. Anyway, moving on. Particularly concerning is outdated and insufficient rating schedule diagnostic codes used to rate claims for constrictive bronchiolitis, which I had done a video on this prior as well, as highlighted in a recent PBS NewsHour article, which I think that's actually maybe the one that I had read. So the senators, I'm not saying this is because of me, I'm just saying that publications, any sort of outlet, whether it's PBS or YouTube videos like this or others that are pushing out information about how things are messed up and need to get fixed, sometimes those things land in the lap of those that can actually affect change, right? So that's a good thing. All right, moving on. The senators highlighted their concerns with the VA's current regulations for rating constrictive bronchiolitis and hypertension, emphasizing it is leading to toxic exposed veterans needlessly being denied. That doesn't really make sense. Being denied. It should just be not them, but whatever. Earned expanded benefits the PACT Act has provided. Next quotation: we understand constrictive bronchiolitis is difficult to diagnose without invasive procedures. In the article that I had read before on this specific issue, they were saying you had to actually get a biopsy in order to figure out if you actually had it or not. So let's read this quotation, see if we can pick out any nuggets here. So we understand constrictive bronchiolitis is difficult to diagnose without invasive procedures, wrote the senators. However, VA's use of pulmonary functions tests in medical disability exams, which it uses to measure the severity of other respiratory conditions, does not support sufficient here we are. I love it. Specificity. I can't say it. Specific stuff. Whatever. Somebody will do it for me phonetically, and I appreciate it. So, anyway, sufficient to support sufficient specific information to accurately rate constrictive bronchiolitis claims. So see, I fixed the sentence. There you go. All right, so moving on. Currently, VA's regulations prevent it from combining ratings for constrictive bronchiolitis, I feel like I'm saying that word a lot, and other respiratory conditions, often leading to veterans being denied service connection for the condition because they have been granted a higher disability rating for another respiratory condition. The senator stressed this rule ignores the diverse impacts respiratory conditions have on veterans' health. The senators also underscored their concerns with VA regulations requiring hypertension diagnosis to be confirmed by readings taken 2 or more times on at least 3 different days. It is not an issue for veterans who were recently diagnosed with hypertension and can present 3 blood pressure readings. However, the PACT Act expanded presumptive disability compensation benefits for veterans exposed to Agent Orange who have been diagnosed with hypertension, many of whom lived with the condition for decades, requiring veterans to locate blood readings from decades ago or worse, Oh, geez. Incentivizing them to go off their medications to prove they still have hypertension is overburdensome and dangerous. Absolutely. That's ridiculous. So hopefully VA will straighten that out. I wasn't aware that the VA was requiring people to send in blood pressure readings from decades ago, and potentially having folks jump off their medication to submit a high blood pressure, hypertension reading, and so forth. But I'd love to see that in the comments. Moving on, due to these outdated regulations, the senators noted they have heard from many veterans whose claims for hypertension were denied or rated 0% because they are currently managing their hypertension with effective medication. The senators concluded veterans have waited decades for benefits and recognition for health conditions related to their toxic exposure. Outdated VA regulations should not deny them earned benefits the PACT Act has provided. The senator's letter follows reporting from PBS NewsHour detailing a lag in VA's efforts to fix how veterans receive disability benefits for constrictive bronchiolitis, a health condition directly linked to post 9/11 military installations in Southwest Asia, Afghanistan, and Djibouti. The letter was also signed by Senators Baldwin, Bennett, Blumenthal, Brown, Hassan, Heinrich, King, Murray, Peters, Sanders, Shaheen, Smith, Stebnow, I'm not sure, Van Hollen, and Welch, and Whitehouse. All right, so that concludes it. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate you. Hopefully this will straighten the VA out a bit, and I'm hoping by default, not only will they fix the hypertension stupid requirements, they will open up the doorways for that bronchiolitis a bit, and I'm hoping by default they will also push on getting the expanded locations and timeframes completed here timely for the expansion of Agent Orange presumptive. So thank you so much for watching again. I really appreciate you. Have a great one, and remember, if we don't take care of each other, something went wrong.